How are you? Welcome to another session from the Insights webinar, from where we present different topics about data analytics and data automation. My name is Ramon. I'm the founder from Excel in BI, from where we help people and company to do more with their data. These webinars are designed for you to learn, get some practice, and also sometimes to understand more complex things about related with data. The technologies that we use are data visualization. We use Power BI, Python, Cloud, Google Cloud, Azure, AWS, so different technologies that normally is used by any data analyst, data engineer, or someone who is willing to learn more about data analytics. So these are designed these sessions and are totally for free. If you're willing to register to any of them in the future, just go to our website, which is excelinvia.com/learn. And from then you will be able to register to any future webinar, okay? The idea, if you come online to these webinars, you will be able to share your questions and also you will be able to share your ideas. So you're invited to join us online, okay? So now it's time to start the presentation. If you give me just 1 second, I will finish just one thing. And all right. So the first thing that we'll be reviewing today is related to how to confuse and fix confusing dashboards. Okay. Because one of the things that we do most of the time as a data analyst is working in Power BI dashboard, Looker dashboard, or even Excel dashboards. Excel doesn't mean that it's not the best tool to do dashboard, but sometimes it's the technology that you have available. So that is why it's important to understand what is the reason why some of the dashboards become quite confusing. And this is what we're reviewing today. So to start, let me share with you the presentation. I hope that you can see my screen. So here we go. All right. So the title for this presentation for today is Fixing Confusing Dashboards. How to turn dashboard into decisions. This is something that it can sound really easy to do, but it's a craft, and then it will take some time for you to grasp it and be able to get into the results. As you can see here, I just put the header of a newspaper, just an example. How important is the data visualization features? For example, you normally see in a newspaper the big title, some of the headers, which are 1, 2 tiles, and then some highlights here. And then this is spread in 3 columns. Those are the kind of things that we also try to do in dashboards. So we try to organize in a certain way that for anyone who review our data visualization dashboard is something easy to digest. That is the reason that if you're looking for inspiration, something is good to jump into newspapers, because most of the professionals who design newspaper, they know a lot about design. So this is a good place for you to start to understand better how data visualization works. So if you can see here we have an example dashboard. Hasn't been done by me. However, I just took it from the internet for you as a reference. And one of the questions that I have here for you is like, can you tell me here what is important for you? What is important in this dashboard? Okay, the reason why it's quite hard to see the importance of what is important in this dashboard is because, first of all, the color and contrast, even though that looks modern, it tends to overwhelm us a bit because there is too much color, too many areas to look in. For example, say revenue, cost, profit. However, for example, this letter here is really hard to read, and even those numbers here sometimes quite hard to read. And in this other example, can you tell me what this means? Like, you see the pie chart here that is spread around different cities from Colombia by the look of it. But then there are all the categories here are chopped, and it's really hard to read. and also be able to understand what this pie chart means quite hard as well. And the same with this graph. For example, if you see this graph, it's really hard to see also to understand what it's like, okay, what it's about. But this is the kind of thing that we'll be reviewing. For example, this other dashboard is really nice and colorful. However, it's also can be a bit hard to comprehend what this is about. And this is all about what we'll be talking about the presentation today, is that how we can convert something like this into something really simple to see and digest, okay? The first thing that I would like to speak with you is that why the story matter more than numbers. Sometimes we want to bring everything into the dashboard, but actually this is a real estate that we need to keep safe in terms of not because we have a 4K screen, we should put in every single place a tile or a bar chart or a line chart. Doesn't mean that we need to put everything in our dashboard. Instead, buy the book. For example, normally I follow storytellingwithdata.com. They have a really good blogs, and she wrote a book some time ago that is really useful if you would like to jump in more into this topic, which is called Storytelling with Data. It's a great place to start, and it's a great place to understand more about data visualization. But here's on the left, you have some examples that how easy for us is to put so many different visualization. But then, for example, in here on the right is more a digestive way to see it. I know that some things get complex to put all this information in, for example, in something like Power BI. However, depending on the kind of dashboard that you're doing, for example, if you are doing a executives dashboard, I would recommend you to do something like this, like preparing an executive package. However, if you are doing something like a operational dashboard, probably you will need to put bit more of information there, but be conscious on the message that you're trying to transfer, okay? Here are 6 principles from storytelling with data that I have reviewed in Cole's book. And this is what the first one I speak about, is understand the context of the business. Because even though that you're really good in data visualization, you're really good transforming data, you must understand the context of the business. You must understand what is important for them. Because even though that you are making a dashboard for 2 recruitment agencies, for one recruitment agency, the important topics or the important KPIs could be something totally different for exactly the same in exactly the same city recruitment agency. That is important to understand the context of the business, the language that they use. This will guide us to go and take better decisions. Then choose the right visuals. Doesn't mean because you are able to do pie chart, line chart, and any kind of fancy chart, you need to use them all. Try to use them wisely. And for example, use bar chart for comparison, line chart for trends, and a scatter chart for relationships. Those are the kind of things that it will guide you through to make proper relationships. Okay. Then eliminate the clutter. Same as I show you in this dashboard. This one, it has quite too much of things. Same of this, you see it's quite colorful. So eliminate the clutter. All the elements that doesn't need to be there, remove it. So think like a designer. So the 4 is focus the attention. In here, nothing is highlighted for me to get the attention. So it's really hard to know what is the attention, but I will tell you more about that a bit later. And the other thing that I just mentioned before, think like a designer. Use something that is handy for the user experience. If you hear about the concept of UX, user experience, it's really important to understand that when you go through a website, it's important for you to have the buttons in this side, to have the menu in this side, and then be able to navigate in the website in a smooth way. And it's the same for dashboard. You should be able to have everything handy, the filters, the kind of visualization for you to be able to perform what you are aiming to achieve. Okay, don't add buttons for the sake to add buttons. Just all those buttons needs to be meaningful for the people who are reviewing this dashboard. Okay, and the last element that is so important for storytelling is tell a story. Okay, this is what we're building with our numbers. For example, if we would like to tell a story, normally we have the introduction, and then we will have the could be the problematic, the resolution, and the conclusion. Okay, if we have those four elements in a dashboard, this could like how the sales used to go last year, or what is the context of the company. This is an overview of how the sale has been going for the last 24 months. But then you have another visualization that shows you how it was going from like 6 months ago. And then in another visualization, you can show how the health cell has been improving in the last 6 months, or have been going down in the last 6 months. And then in the conclusion of the dashboard, you should be able to have some tools for the user to take some actions and guidance with your numbers. So, for example, you should have something like a table or something like a paragraph that it will enable the user to take action. Okay. And your dashboard should be like a newspaper. I just mentioned before the beginning of this presentation. Normally we have the headline, which any newspaper has it. Then you have the tiles. If you go back to, we go back to the newspaper view, here you will see that we have the tiles, and then we have the header, we have the date, what it's about, and then we start our stories. So this is exactly the same. Like we have our cards, even though that you are not making your dashboard vertical, even if you're doing horizontal, you can follow the same schema. Okay. Above the fold, critical data must be visible before scrolling. Okay, this is the most important, and then you scroll down. Sorry, I just scrolled down and I jumped into another tab. And then having a sort of like a hierarchy information means that you have the main numbers, and then when you click a drill down, you start to go deeply into the numbers. So this is what means. So we start with the bigger numbers, then we show a bit of details, and then we go line by line, for example, from an invoice. Okay. And normally it's recommendable to put one story per section. So if here you're showing the sales, ideally you should have another page for the stock. Try to don't overwhelm people to have multiple views from one specific tab. Okay. The other concept that is really something that I like is the Z pattern, that how you eyes scan a dashboard or how you eyes scan a newspaper. Normally we start from the top left, and then we go to the top right, then go to the middle left, and then to the bottom right. This is our brain how it's structured to read newspapers, and so we should follow the same in a Power BI dashboard, in a Google Looker dashboard. So we start with the brand and title, then the biggest KPI, the primary message, then we drill down a little bit with the KPI cards, the secondary metrics, some filters, and then we go to the main trend, which is the plot, the middle of the story, and then the context and comparison, and then we ended up with drilling down tables and breakdown by segments. Something like it could take you 300 seconds of content. I will come back to this idea of the 3 seconds shortly, but this is the way how you could be able to articulate your idea in your dashboard, data dashboard. If you can see now, normally when you take the snapshot of any page, you will see this set clearly in the future. Okay, so next time that you have a dashboard in front of you or a newspaper, remember this Z pattern, and you will be able to see that this is actually what we do every day. Okay. And another concept that is important to us is the 330-300. I don't know if you heard about this rule. This is really a good rule that shows us that In 3 seconds, you should be able to see the data in a glance. So for example, here you should be able to see the KPIs, the main tabs. So for example, we'll be asking, what is this dashboard about? A really simple question. And then in 3 seconds, our dashboard should be able to answer that. Okay. Then in 30 seconds, you should be able to do what are the big numbers. So if you can 1, 2, 3 until 30 seconds, you should well be able to answer this other question, which is, for example, see the key metrics are large prominence, trend directions, and period comparison, all those kind of elements that will be able to start to create your questions. And lastly, you should be able, in 300 seconds, you should be able to explain all you have seen before with a drill down information. For example, if we understand that this dashboard is about sales, then we be able to see in tiles and a little graph how the sale has been performing. But in the 3 second place, we should be able to see why the sales are increasing. For example, the main reason, the explanation is coming because North has been selling more of this kind of units. So that I will be able to tell you and the detailed reason why this is happening. But always remember to start from the tree. If you make wait to a user 5 minutes to be able to find out the answers, you will find that it will lost engagement and then they will walk away from your dashboard. And none of us will like to have something like that because we're creating assets for the company. So if we create a website, I use the example of the website because it relates a lot with the design. If we create a website, we would like to make customers to be engaged with our website and remain on the website as much as the game. Other important topic is the colors. So use the colors wisely. So not because I like the rainbow color, I will use all the colors in my dashboard. I need to use the one that I would like to bring the attention to it. For example, if I have a dashboard like this, I would like to only show the highest number. It has a different color. In that way, if you close your eyes for a moment and then you open it up, you will see it will draw the attention into the right place. However, in this other graph on the left, you doesn't know to where your attention should go. Normally, there's a rule of three that 60% dominant neutral and 30% support tone and 10% should be accent. Okay, so if you follow this rule, so it should be normally pretty much gray, everything, and then a little bit of highlight with this dark gray, and then 10%, which is this highlight, it should be from where we would like to get our attention. Okay, it's a no decoration place. It's not a expression of how can I say, of pop art. This is about results, and this is what we're looking for in our dashboards. Another point that I don't know if you work in marketing before, but it's something called A/B testing, that normally we can create the version A and the version B for exactly the same information, but this is, you will be able to find it out with your stakeholders, which kind of dashboard create the best impact. So if you create two versions of the same dashboard, for example, if you are working the long-lasting dashboard, you will be able to get the feedback from which of them the customer get better engagement. This is another way how you can do to validate that you are going in the right track with your dashboard. If you are enjoying what you're looking so far, please leave us a Google review. This is the way how we can keep doing this for free. And yeah, so if you have your phone handy, just please scan this QR code and leave it to us a review, and then it will be really encouraged for us to keep doing those webinars for you. Okay, this is the only thing that we ask in return. So some of the takeaways, if you take some of this for takeaways or exercise for this week, try to build up those one sentence stories. Okay, sometimes we when create a dashboard, we doesn't get the message right, So let's try to reflect and write in one sentence the story that we're trying to transfer with the dashboard that we're creating, okay? If you can write it, redesign the headline and the KPI because maybe there is something missing. And also you can ask for feedback if you're working with someone or you have your partner nearby or a friend that you can share something, share it. And also these people will be able to give you some insights of how the data is looking, okay? And the other exercise that I'll recommend you to do, make a Z pattern audit in the assets that you have. So take a screenshot from your dashboards and draw a set line and be able if that aligns with what you want to achieve. Okay, this is a cool exercise, and then we'll find it out that sometimes we doesn't do all as we expected. Even I think this is a craft, and there are many areas that I need to improve. I don't know everything, and I hope that within the years I will getting closer to transfer better messages in my dashboards. Okay. And the exercise number 3, that probably this will take a bit of more of your time, but do a 300 check from where, as I just mentioned before, get a 3 second of what is this screen about. In 30 seconds, you should be able to understand the dashboard. And in 300 seconds, you should be able to explore what this dashboard about. If you're interested to do this exercise, feel free to take a snapshot of this, and then you can take some work to do at home, okay? And to conclude, and the thing that I want to say, the goal is not to show all the data that you have, but to highlight the data that matters. That's what called Nasmelma, she reflected on her book, and I totally recommend you to read her book, of course. But at the same time, I totally recommend you to align with this pattern because doesn't mean that all the data is available. All the data should be displayed in our dashboards and data assets. And even those all the things that we speak, you could apply them into Excel, Power BI, Google Looker, Tableau, or any of data visualization tool that you use. So even Canva or whatever tools is available for you. And also you will find that sometimes when we do data visualization with something like Plot that create us nice graph and insights, something doesn't follow all the rules. So it's really important for you to say like, use the best practice of data visualization, and based on that, create a dashboard. So that is one important. So I just would like to conclude here, and I hope that you enjoyed the session. But before to disconnect today, I would like to jump into a quick exercise that I have for you, okay? But before to jump on that, I would like to know if you guys online have any question. I just allow your mic. If you have any questions so far, Dot or Chilpa.
None so far, Ramon, but this is very insightful. Thank you for this. So I have some place to start with on data visualizations to when I'm going to study for it, because I'm
Okay.
currently doing my capstone and it deals with visualizations as well. I'm gonna be
Nice.
using this information that I got from your webinar. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. This goes online later, so they always will be available. If you would like to review later, it will be in YouTube. So you can go to my website, excelinbi.com/learn, and there are always all the videos for you. Okay?
All right, thanks.
No worries. So if you don't have any other question, let's jump into the practical exercise. Okay? So if you can see now my screen, I will jump into my Power BI. So this is a Power BI. And I left in purpose certain things that I would like to show you. For example, this is if we do the set, probably we're a bit aligned where we just discussed. So we have what this is about. However, we need a bit of more details, and then we could be able to see. But one of the things that I would like to first fix is this blank thing that doesn't mean anything. I will just do a -0, and that way I will get a number 0 there because that blank just annoys me a little bit. But for example, if we're looking here, the title say data quality score over time. So I can see that within the months, we have different scores. But to be able to make this more clear, one thing that I can do in Power BI, this is just a tool that I decided to show you today. If we go here to the X, the thing that we could do categorical. And here we can have all the date and the month year. If I go to the table that is using month year, here we go. And if I put it in a simple format like this, I think that is not the right one. It's from fact data quality. It's this one here, sorry. I will put it like in this format. Yeah. Now this one, it should tell us better the date. However, there's too many things to read, so I think that this one should be, yeah. This is much easy to read. So instead of to keep it like that, I would like to do something like this. But as you can see there, here is still some work to do because in the way how it's displaying the date, it's quite confusing. So we can just keep it as continuously. But the other thing that I would like to show is a bit of numbers here, because in that way I will be easily reading what is there. So to show numbers, we just go here into values of the data label. Yeah, but as you see again, this is too much. But we can change the level density, and then we just can keep few. You see that the ones that are the peaks are the ones that will be displayed. And to be able to show them properly, I can just put a background on them. And I could put a more darker background. And the transparency, I can set it to none. And then I can put the lighter color by this. And then it will be much easier for me to read it. Those are the kind of small things that we can do to make the dashboard look more meaningful, okay? And this other tab, the other thing that we have here is data quality, a deep dive. So this is what field completion for recruiters. Where are the gaps? This is the areas from where they need to be improved. And as you can see, here's again, the title is not getting displayed right. So the thing that I could do, I could make the legends to put them in the top center or put them on the top left. Yeah, and this is still not showing right and top right. The other thing that I could do, I could make it smaller. Okay. Yeah, this is getting better because now I can read what is this about. Okay. And the other thing that probably this is not the best view to show this data because as you can see, it's really hard to read which one is which. So instead of that, I would like to just present one specific one and change toggle around there. But to be able to do that, probably will take me a bit more of time, but I just want to show you, for example, probably this, it can be more easy to read because here you can see the lines and then where it ends look like it's the resolution. But I just want to explain you that even for me, sometimes it gets quite hard, but always I would recommend you to take the time and reflect if what we're trying to communicate is what is exactly what we're showing. Use the set exercise, use different stuff, different views and A/B testing. And for example, if you would like to put a text here that it represent the information, I could say, I'm sorry. I could say In this view, we represent the total amount of completions over the period. And here in Power BI, you can add a value. You can select a min date. And then you can see it will give you the period 2. And here another variable, we can just put max date. So I just want to show you how easy it is to add information here. So in this way, we can start to make our graph more meaningful. But I won't dive much deeper on that. I just want to show you the tools that you can use to make this thing to make it look more easy to read. So I hope that you enjoyed this session today and it was meaningful for you. And if you have any question, feel free to reach out through our website, which is excelinbi.com. And yeah, thank you for joining us, and thank you, and see you next time. Thank you very much, everyone.